Thank you very much, Professor. I'm very happy to be here. California has a very special meaning to me. I come from South America. My native language is Spanish. ¿Podemos hablar español? Okay. My native language is Spanish. I came to the university in California. And I went to Northern California to a very beautiful university called University of the Pacific in Stockton, California. And I was lucky enough to have a very beautiful education, but I met my wife there. And we've been married 35 years, and that's my girlfriend. So, I mention this because as a student just like you, I've always wanted to change the world. But I came at that time in Latin America, people that were change agents led a very difficult and violent life. So I said, how can you change the world, fall in love, have a family, make money, and lead have your children go to college and change the world without dying? So when we went back to Paraguay after graduate school, we founded a nonprofit organization. And we said, we're going to make this a powerful organization to help the people and at the same time learn. And during these years, we have been developing a microfinance program. Anybody knows what microfinance is? Microfinance is a system whereby you can provide loans to the unbankable. Who is an unbankable person?
Someone that doesn't have any credit.
Can you give me somebody that has no credit? What for example?
Right, like maybe someone in a poor rural.
You have a poor woman in rural Brazil who knows how to make very good cakes and wants to sell cakes to make some extra money for the family, but she doesn't have money to buy the flour. Can somebody think of a micro enterprise here in the United States? Are there unbanked people in this country who have no access to the banking system? Let's say you want to start a taco truck. Would you like to start a taco truck? Not really? Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
How much does it cost?
At least 10 grand.
10 grand. That's a lot of money and not that much money. Do you know her? Would you give her $10,000?
If I had it.
Exactly. So your friends don't have money. Why don't you just go to the bank? Knock, knock, Bank of America, give me $10,000. What do you want it for? I want to start a taco truck.
They wouldn't give it to me. I have nothing to offer, no collateral.
But you have a good idea.
But everyone has the same idea.
But you are a good person.
I don't think they're going to take that into collateral. That's not credit. That's not backing that you're going to pay your payments on time.
So what happens in the world with millions of women like you who want to earn extra money and the system requires collateral? Is she a good person? Is she trustworthy? Do you know where she lives?
Yes.
Is she responsible?
Yes.
Can you give me your word that she is a good client to the bank?
Yes.
I'll give you the loan. That is a personal collateral. So we started a bank for the poor. And we have 85,000 poor women like you who seamstresses, cooks, street vendors, shopkeepers, and they have transformed their world, right? And in the world, the microfinance industry has grown so much, there are now 250 million formerly unbanked women who now have access to microcredit. This is giving a woman like her a loan with alternative backing, because I do need somebody to certify. I don't know her. I don't even know where you live. But I can ask your neighbors to vouch for you. So we created this organization in Paraguay, and we've been growing and growing and growing. And in the process, I found that some women that we lent money to. We're talking about we're talking about starting with $40. If you pay, you can lend up to 70. If you pay, 100. If you pay, these are 4-month loans, because I cannot give you $300 and then I'll see you next year. No. You know, keep in touch, right? So little by little, you can build your credit, and I now have clients who have taken out 50 loans. Small, they pay, and it's really an amazing thing. The big thing that happened to us, some women overcame poverty, and some didn't. And so we started saying, how is it that some people overcome poverty and some don't? Why? What is it? Do you have an idea? Why is it easier for some people to overcome poverty? The drive, personal drive, motivation. Only motivation? No. Support system.
Some people have good physical and mental health, others may not.
Okay.
Responsibility.
Opportunity. Resources. So we give, what's your name? Because I picked you as a guinea pig. I'm so sorry.
Teresa.
You can move if you want.
It's fine. My name's Teresa.
Teresa. So Teresa may or may not flourish. She looks good, but we don't know your circumstances. Do you know your circumstances? Mm-hmm. Do you know that you're going to be successful in life? Mm-hmm. She's pretty I wish I were like you. That's the plan, you know? Okay, but life happens, right? So in any case, we started finding out, and I became very interested in the nature of poverty. What is poverty? What is not poverty? Can you go ahead? Smile. Beautiful teeth. Beautiful teeth. If she had no teeth, would she be considered poor? Yes? So poverty is not only money. It's what? It looks at appearance, health. It's getting complicated, right? So if she were driving a nice Toyota Corolla and she was making $35,000 a year and didn't have any teeth, is she a poor person or not a poor person? Interesting. So this is what I would like to talk to you today, but I'm going to go very fast because I'm very curious to see what kind of questions you may have, okay? So we have an hour. I'm going to speak for 30 minutes really quickly. I'm going to show you what we are doing, and then I want to ping pong with you. First of all, I'm fascinated with nationalities. My native language is Spanish, and I come from Paraguay in South America. Any other? Raise your hands, the Americans. Californians. Okay. What other nationalities are there? Viva Palestina. Viva Palestina. Okay. Mexico, yes. What other? Egypt. Egipto. Eritrea. Okay. India. Brasil. ¿Cómo va? Entonces, Ghana. China. Okay. Russia. Okay. Camboya. El Salvador, muy bien. ¿Hay pupusas ricas acá en este campus? ¿Se puede? They have the best food. They have something called pupusa. Peruana. Ceviche? Okay, I see a person uses ceviche. Does anybody know what ceviche is?
Yeah.
Do you think the Peruvians make the best ceviche, or the Ecuadorians, or the Chileans? No. Are there Ecuadorians here? See, well, let's get into, okay. So, any other nationality that we forgot? Yes? Armenia? Mm-hmm. Romania. Okay. Fantastic. Yes? Japan. Okay. Taiwan. Okay. We have our poverty program in Taipei. Syrian. Okay. We have been to Damascus twice before the war. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The only problem people from the Middle East have is, who's been to the Middle East? Okay, it's crazy. You eat, they invite you over to dinner. You eat, and when you finish eating, they bring in the food. Why didn't you tell me that you were going to bring 3 tons of food? I would have controlled myself, you know? So this is something I love the Middle East, and I think we Latin Americans have a little bit of that. I'm going to go very fast, and please don't be offended because I like to joke and I like to provoke conversations, okay? So California is a great place, right? It's the 6th largest economy, okay? 2.44 trillion. I don't even know what that means, but it is higher than France, okay? With 6 million fewer workers. Okay, they produce more than France with fewer people. And it's bigger than India, Italy, and Brazil. Amazing place. But prosperity is not shared with everybody. And I know that many students at UCI are very worried about this. We are worried because there are many hardworking people who cannot overcome poverty. It used to be that the people who did not have jobs were poor. Now we are seeing in California working people who are poor. You can now work 40 hours a week and still be poor. So, what is wrong with this picture? And in the United States, almost 14%, 13.9% of the population in the United States live in poverty. And does that... So the reason why I picked this title for this conversation today is I saw this crazy headline, right? Who owns the risk of earthquakes in California? What does that mean? Yes?
Who has a higher chance of getting affected by controls than other places?
A little bit, no? Somebody else? Yes? Insurance, an American institution. So who owns the risk of earthquakes? What happens if we received a big earthquake here? Who loses the money?
Supposedly insurance company.
The insurance company. And the insurance company is supported by the federal government. So the federal government is now saying, we better do something, because if all these houses fall, the insurance company is going to pay, it's going to go bankrupt, it's going to go to the reinsurer, and the ultimate Fannie Mae and whatever is federal government. So it says, okay, so who is the owner of poverty in California? And so one of the things that we try to do here at UC Irvine is ask questions, challenge the system. Who measures poverty in the United States? Who does the measuring? Remember that 13.9? Where did that come from? Who measures that? Health associations? The census, the government measures, right? What if they're measuring wrong? Do you trust the government in everything? You don't trust in anything. So what we're saying is, it is our responsibility to question. This is the way things we do in Mexico. Why? No, because we like to. Why? Because why? And your and my responsibility is challenge. Challenge. And if we ask the right questions, we're going to start seeing that many things in India, in Japan, in Brazil, in Egypt, many things are very weak. You push and they have no support. So poverty is lack of money. Raise your hands. High. Okay. The poor are lazy. Poverty is structural. Remember when left-handed students were beaten up by their professor? Who had that experience? Does anybody had that or saw that in schools?
Yeah, I was beat by the professor in school.
In what country?
China.
Okay, like are you left-handed?
No, I'm not left.
You no longer, right? Right? Where did that idea come from? Who invented that idea that being left-handed is wrong? Right-handed people, exactly. So what I'm saying is, and this was accepted until somebody says, hey, don't hit the girl. It's not her fault. You understand? And what about vampires? What did vampires do? How did people get tuberculosis? But this is for hundreds and hundreds of years. So if these ideas for hundreds and hundreds of years were wrong, maybe we can start challenging some ideas today. And what I would like to do with you today is challenge the idea about poverty. Remember Galileo Galilei, this famous, right? I made a great invention, a great discovery. We are not the center of the universe. The sun is. No. Who's Catholic here? The Catholic Church says the earth is the center of the universe. It's in the Bible. Yeah, but just look, we're not. No, the Bible. Yeah, but look at you want to take a look? No. You want to go to jail, Galileo? No. Okay, publicly say that the sun is not the center, but the earth is the center. And what did he do? He said, the Catholic Church forced him to say, and then when he was going out, he says, but it is not. Or one of those jokes. So, taco trucks, mobile parks, the ideas that we have of poverty, and home ownership. You know that the problem here, why do we have this problem?
Well, I know that they're building a lot of housing, but it's super expensive. It's too expensive for people to buy or rent, so they just go vacant.
You go to Damascus, and there was housing for lower income people. And you go to Egypt, and yes. And you go to Taiwan, Taipei, there is, everywhere there is low income housing. So do you understand, right? So what is, if the poverty line in the United States is $25,000 or $40,000, can you still buy a house? So what are the poor supposed to do? Rent? What do you do? And this is our responsibility at the University of California. Hey, we have to come up with a better idea, because they tell us, no, you cannot write with your left hand. No, you cannot have low-income housing for the poor. Oh, really? What if I came up, or you came up with an idea to solve this problem? Is it a problem that housing is expensive? Who thinks that housing is expensive? Why are you like that? Like, who thinks that it's not that the houses are expensive? Who thinks that the salary is low? Right? What is the minimum salary in California? How long do how high should it be to be able to afford a house here? $25, right? So, how much should Walmart pay?
At least 20 an hour.
20 an hour. How much are they paying now?
11.
What are we going to do about it? Cry? Is that it? So what is poverty? This is the big question. Is it expensive homes? Is it insufficient minimum salary? Is it that she does not have any teeth? Commuting poverty. Do you think there is something called commuting poverty? What is commuting? What is an okay commuting time for you? An hour? Raise your hands. You think an hour is an acceptable commuting time? One way, right? So 2 hours a day. Going to work and coming back, right? Who thinks 2 hours is... Do you know, who knows somebody who drives 2 hours to work? Who knows who drives 2.5 hours? 3 hours? Dios mío. So a person that spends 5 hours a day driving to get home and to work, huh?
From here to Chino Hills. There and back. 5 in the morning, gets here like around 8, leaves at 7, gets over there like 9 or so.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have to raise your hands because if you're, I don't know if you're scratching your
My housemate commutes has to commute to work from here all the way to Studio City and back during rush hours.
Wow. So basically, these are the two ideas, right? Two ideas: create jobs and alleviate suffering. That's how you deal with poverty in the world, right? Economic growth and welfare, right? And what is the elephant? What is the elephant? What is the elephant in the room there? The two ideas, right? We need to create jobs and we need to alleviate suffering. What's the elephant? Have you heard about this? Yes.
May I make a guess as to what the elephant is? My guess is that one of these options actually benefits people in poverty much more than the other.
No. The elephant in the room, I'll tell you in a while. Have you heard of the Sustainable Development Goals? Who has heard about the Sustainable Development Goals? These are the objectives that the governments set up, right? Housing, water, nutrition, vaccines, etc., etc. Okay? The poor do not define poverty. We don't know how to incorporate the poor in Armenia or in Peru. It's all government, right? The federal government measures poverty, the state government measures poverty. And so the idea is, what if we had a system of allowing the poor to measure their poverty? If you were that lady with a loan and you were working, would you consider yourself poor?
With the loan and working?
Even though you had low income? Why would you consider yourself not poor?
Because you have more than other people have.
because you have more than other people, but also how you feel. So basically, I would like to show you that in Paraguay, we developed, using technology, the poverty stoplight. This little machine allows the poor to answer in 50 indicators, I am green, yellow, or red indicate. So for example, means of transportation. And using technology, you can answer all these questions, and it can be translated to, we have it in Chinese, we have it we were doing it in Mexico, we're doing it in South Africa, and we're doing it in England. Anybody from England here? We're doing it in New Orleans, we're doing it in upstate New York, is develop a system so that the poor can measure themselves. And then when the poor finish measuring, they come up with this. What am I showing you here? Am I giving you, you are 34%? I'm not giving you an index, I'm giving you a dashboard. Do you think that this is better to measure poverty than a single number? Why?
My guess is yes, because it gives you insight into each
Gives you?
case.
Gives who? You.
The observing party.
Can you repeat? Start again. My idea is yes because?
It provides the observing party a better insight into each individual case.
But you are that. So you would construct this. Okay? Is this useful to you?
It would. It would give me insight as to,
Your own situation.
yes.
So this person is, can you read it out loud, please? The color and the name.
All right, the category is we have enough income, and their response was red. Their category, we have savings, red. We have access to credit, yellow. We have different sources of income, red. We have forms of ID, red. We live in a healthy environment, green. We manage our garbage well, green. We have a faucet, red. We have access to health services, red. We have good nutrition, green.
So how can you be poor? Can you believe it? How can you be poor in some areas and not poor in others? Is that possible?
Yes.
And that is what we call multidimensional poverty, right? Has anybody read the novel Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy? It's a beautiful, you're Russian? Congratulations. The best novel in the world. The best novel in the world. If you haven't read it, read it. Anna Karenina. You will cry and cry and cry. It's a very sad story. Have you read it?
A while ago, like
Yeah. And do you remember the first line?
I remember how it ends.
I'm sure that in Russian it's different, but the first line is beautiful. It says, all happy families are alike, and each unhappy family is unhappy in their own way. It's a very beautiful thing. So what I would like to open to questions now, what do you think about multidimensional poverty, and do you think that it would benefit the poor if they are allowed to measure their own poverty? Can you be poor in income, not poor in ID, not poor in housing, not poor in transportation, poor in polluted environment, and poor in no vaccines? And can he be different in you have a car but you don't have a job, you live in an insecure place but you have a great family and a great support system? Who's poorer?
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. And it doesn't matter? Does it matter? Why not?
It doesn't matter because if you put them on the same number and then one number goes higher than the other, it doesn't mean that they necessarily feel better off. Like if you're gonna have to build up a support system for a person that doesn't have it. and you're going to have to like get a car if you don't have one and you need one. If you're brand new.
So what does it mean that the United States is 13.9 poor? What does that mean? What does that mean? Yes?
What do they use to?
My name is Marcel Morgan Session. What does the government use to get that number? Is it like everything that you use on your stuff?
All your income. No. The government in the United States does not use a poverty stoplight. This stoplight is revolutionary. I'm trying to create a revolution. Nobody's listening. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You know, right?
Do they just grab your income and be like, if you're below, I don't know, 20,000 a year, you're poor?
That is the way the government measures. It's 24,000. Okay, right? So it's 24,000. That's 24,000. So do you think that with 24,000, the U.S. government poverty line, you could survive in Orange County?
90K is poverty here.
90K.
Yeah, to maintain an apartment in California, in Orange County, it's
Right,
about
right.
80 to 90.
So basically, and I'm going to wrap up. Basically, what I'm saying is, who came up with this idea?
It was Molly Oshansky.
Molly, I know that. There was a woman in 1964 called Molly Orshansky, in the Department of Agriculture, and she said, how much money does it take to buy a basket of food? And that's how they came up with the poverty line. Because before 1964, there was nothing, except one or two experiments there. But now we know that poverty is not only income, right? To simplify things is, how much money do you need to be not poor in Orange County? But now we know that poverty is multidimensional and it means a lot of things. So, does anybody have any questions or rejections? I was provocative with you. You can be provocative with me, okay?
My name is Araceli Velasquez, and
Where are you from?
here. Yeah, so your program, how does it account for like trying to get homeless information from people that can't use your technology, like people who don't have access to whatever you're like trying to get and stuff? So
Can you give me an example of a person, for example?
a person who's illiterate or someone who's mentally ill, someone like homeless people that you wouldn't be able to talk to.
Okay, the good news, we are developing with the School of Social Ecology a program with the Salvation Army for the homeless to do this, to allow a self-assessment of the, right? Today we were working with some master's students on what indicators. Yes, it is. We basically work with social workers who work with them, who know already. So if you go, you can be a homeless person, there is usually a social worker that they know, right?
You have sketches also for people who don't read.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Pass it around.
yeah. Any, yeah?
What about her? Grant Friedman.
Hi, Grant.
Do you think that there's a problem with the lending system to buy a home? For instance, if you don't have 20% down, you're hit with like property mortgage insurance and lots of other stuff. Like the government doesn't really provide many ways to buy it rather than a VA loan and serving.
I think so. And you know what I know also? That when people protest, they make changes. When people say, no, we need, can the poor access very easy loans right now? You're going to do a lot of exercise today. Huh?
Dan,
Okay.
so I know in this country it's a lot easier to access social workers, but what about countries in like Peru where there are no social workers?
We usually work with, in Peru, for example, we work with a coffee company who, the people who use their heads of human resources to ask the families, where the coffee families, the families that produce coffee. So In every country, you either have a church, you either have a government agency, a municipality, a nonprofit organization, but families know somebody, right? And you train those people to access the families. Or else you just train students to go into the villages.
Viví 4 años en la selva, en Iquitos, en lugares así.
Correcto. So if you lived in the jungles of Peru, and you have what you said, there are many isolated families, right? But they know other people, right? So it would be, you know, I'm working also in some very rural, isolated places, and the reason why we use illustrations is because many people cannot read and write, but they know. They know. When you ask the mother, my family eats well, and my children are well nourished, green. We sometimes eat well, but sometimes not, yellow, or we don't have enough to eat. Does the poorest indigenous Peruvian jungle woman, does she know? She knows. Yes.
My name is Wilson Marenko, and this is a question regarding the microfinance that you mentioned earlier in the talk. I was wondering, how would you implement that system here in the States, or in Orange County in general?
There is an organization called Grameen America. Has anybody heard about Grameen? Grameen. Grameen Bank is an organization that does microfinance. It started in Bangladesh. Who's from Bangladesh? Okay, so in Bangladesh, they discovered this methodology to lend $30 to a person with nothing, because she would do something with it and make money and lift herself out of poverty. So they have moved it to the United States. So look up Grameen America or Grameen USA, and there are microfinance organizations in this country. I don't know if probably in LA. Yes. Oh.
I got one question.
So my name is Avira Abdullah. I have a question about the actual project itself. So do you guys offer like basically services or resources that people can kind of get in connection to or utilize through the project in order to kind of improve themselves in areas that they're red or yellow in?
Yes, and when we do not offer those services, we know who does. For example, there is a way I'll use your example again, in the jungles of Peru to find a wheelchair. There is a way. It's difficult. It's expensive, but there is a way. The thing is to connect that, right? So, yeah. Once a person self-diagnoses her level of poverty, you can start working, because what I didn't mention is that the first thing that using this technology, the family builds this dashboard, right? This dashboard, we think, is better to say, this family is 13.9. But this is the key. The second part of the poverty stoplight. Can you read it out loud? What does it say, Sam?
Our life map, our priorities, why I don't have it, what do I do to attain it, where will I have it?
What is this family's first priority?
Family savings, income above poverty line, part of groups, diversified sources of income, vaccinating.
Okay. Remember, have you studied national development plans? You're from Ghana or Eritrea? Eritrea. Anybody knows about what national development plans are? These are plans that governments make, right? To build infrastructure, to build roads, to build schools, hospitals, right? And it's always development has been top down. This is what governments do. Now we have the technology to have one development plan per family. And you have, you earn enough money, but you have a child with autism, and you have a problem with family violence, but you are educated, and you have a good house, and you have a good car, right? Your next door neighbor may have the opposite. So every family is unique, and today we can make every family have a plan of action to overcome poverty. Yes?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Ashley Chung. Currently from Rome, but I saw on your website that one of the key features of Poverty Stoplight is that the data that you collect informs stakeholders such as businesses and government programs. But what happens if the primary drivers of poverty are those very same stakeholders? For example, what if it's negligence on the government's part or corruption that's driving poverty?
We work with 6 dimensions or categories: income and employment, housing and infrastructure, education and culture, health and environment, organization and participation. We encourage the poor to protest. What if you have a school in, where are you from? America? California. Okay. So what if the school, the teacher doesn't show up? What do you do as a mother? What do you do?
Go down to the office,
And do what?
talk to the higher up people, so line with their teacher.
Exactly, right? And if you're in Palestina and there's a beautiful school and the teacher sleeps during the class, what do you do? Right. You have the right to protect. Yes?
I'm a little bit confused. So if you're saying that you will put them more into a way of helping them in healthcare and all that, so in LA that many of them are like mentally ill, how do you sort of transition the mentally ill to the institutions? Because it's a lot, and then since gentrification is happening a lot in LA, how does that mix up with everything?
We don't know. What we know is that do you think every homeless person in LA will have the identical dashboard?
Obviously not, right?
Obviously not, right? So you would have an educated homeless with mental problems. The next door homeless would be uneducated with depression, right? So the idea is for the person to self-diagnose. There are cases of mental health that are beyond this, right? But we do know that it is important for the person to take stock of their strengths. Does this measure, is this green or red? Exactly. Is this person only poor? Why do you say that? Because it has so many greens. So this person is not poor in this, in this, in this, in this, in this. There are about 15 or 20 issues that this person is perfectly fine. So don't limit and say she is poor because she doesn't have any money. Maybe she doesn't have any money, but she has a beautiful family. And she has great health. And she has a great education. And so she's not a basket case, okay? And just because, if the poverty line is $25,000, the next door neighbor that makes $26,000, is she not poor? So what we're trying to say is there is no need to simplify poverty into one number. Don't reduce people. You earn less than $3 a day, you're poor. You make $5,000.
Hi, my name is Bianca Rufino. Regarding protest, and to bring it back to something someone mentioned back here about how you felt about certain rules with how mortgages work and certain things seeming unfair, and you said, yeah, well, things change by protesting. But someone that's not really a part of the mortgage game, why would the banks really care if you protested if you're not really involved in that anyways and play into it? So would it have to be people that are already like a part of that and contributing to that? Are those the people who really have to protest to make change?
Perfect question. Is there a housing problem in California? Yes. Does it affect disproportionately the poor? Yes. Do you think that the poor should do something about it? I'm asking you. I don't know. Maybe they don't protest to the bank. Maybe they have to go and protest
It
to.
would have to come from people who more aren't poor to have an effect on the system, because why, if the poor protest, like, why are the banks gonna really care? Because
Okay, let's help her out. She says that she does not think that protest was going to work against the bank.
from the poor.
From the poor. So where can the poor go? Who can they protest? They're elected officials. What happens if 700 poor go in front of the senator's house every night and say, we want a house? Do you think it's going to affect? Sooner or hopefully, right? Hopefully.
We, the homeowners, did protest, and it was to cut taxes. Another question over here.
Can you repeat that?
We, the homeowners, did protest. It was to cut taxes.
So if the homeowners can protest to cut taxes, hello? But every country is different. Yes.
I'm Delaney Emanino. I have a question.
Many Italians.
Yeah, I'm
But who else is Italian? I've heard about 7 Italian last names around here.
I have an Italian last
That's a
name.
great.
I don't think I'm Italian. It's a long story.
Oh, okay. We understand you. Go ahead.
How many countries is the poverty stoplight in currently? And then is there, I assume there is a 5-year goal. Can you share with us some specifics of that?
Yeah. So we are now in the United States in 4 or 5 communities in the U.S. We're in Mexico. We're working with El Salvador. We have a version for Guatemala. We are working in Honduras. We don't have anything in Panama yet. Nothing in Costa Rica. 2 programs in Colombia. 1 in Ecuador. Nothing in Brazil yet, although we are speaking with some people there. So, what we do is we train the organization in each country that they do it. But we do not have a plan for Mexico. So, but our plan is to reach 1 million families in 5 years.
Where are you at right now?
100,000. Hey, I have to dream big, right? I have to. Yeah, well, then we're moving to England, and we have Nigeria and Tanzania. And
Just another question. What tells you, what are the factors and figures that go into deciding, okay, we're going to go here now?
through if the organization comes to us.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah, and it's demand driven. So you have to be a South African who really wants to work in the townships in Cape Town or else, right? Because I cannot go into a township in South Africa. I didn't even know how to get there. But you, a South African, you can navigate. Yes?
Hi, my name is Rainy Schmidt. My question is, so your whole system, the poverty stoplight, is based on participants self-diagnosing their poverty?
Which is 50%.
Okay.
The other 50% is developing an inventory of proven solutions in that community by community members and helping families come up with their plan.
Right. So my question is regarding the self-diagnosing part of the poverty stoplight. How do you combat families who self-diagnose their poverty?
It's a very good question. Usually families misrepresent for 3 reasons. Why would a family doing a self-diagnosis not be true to herself? Give me one. Yes?
Perhaps they think they can gain more. They say it's all red.
Okay, they're gaming the system. They're trying to take advantage. That is one.
They don't understand their situation in relation to the community or society. They have a terrible toilet that doesn't even flush, but when you ask them, how's your bathroom? Fine. What's the 3rd reason why people would misrepresent? See? You're embarrassed. And then, of course, if you ask her, how about family violence? You don't know if she is a victim of family violence. Is she afraid? Can she get into more trouble? There are many issues. The thing is to have the community start thinking about that. Yes?
These 2 can't decide who's going first.
Okay, great.
My name is Taylor Montague. You said you're trying to create a revolution, but no one's listening.
No. Yeah. when you try to change the educational system in Palestine, or you want to change the irrigation system in Brazil, and people read, so what I'm doing is working with many organizations, right? I started working with nonprofits, then I said, I better get the business community. So I'm working with factories, and they are incredibly enough getting it, because they're saying, we are making money as poverty and deprivations reduce in our workforce. Let's say you own a supermarket, right? And you own a supermarket, and for some unknown reason, you hire 3 cashiers in January, and by December, you only have 2 left. You have 30% turnover does that cost money for the company? And if you found out that the reason why she loses her job is because there's a problem of transportation, can you do something about it? Maybe. So we now have 120 companies that are committed to zero poverty in their workforce for selfish reasons, which is beautiful. Everybody overcomes poverty, the company makes more money.
So let's assume that the government does take this. How do they deal with the multi-dimension of poverty? So how do they change the policy?
They?
The government.
Okay, there is no such thing as the government. There is an agency here, another agency there, that is the thing. So what we're doing is disaggregating poverty, right? Disaggregating into small pieces, right? And then, of course, the working organization will connect. You need wheelchairs, such and such. You need glasses, go over there. You need job training, go here. You need issues of you fix your toilet. That is the thing. Yes?
Marcel, my question. So in countries like Peru, it's harder to get government aid because most of the population is poor. That's not the case here in the U.S. So if, let's say, the U.S. government decides to put the poverty stoplight here, how will they decide who gets aid?
Well, it depends on who needs it. The first thing is, do you think that it is better for the government to decide whether he needs help, or is it better for him to say, this is my situation and this is what I need? What do you prefer? Is it more empowering if he knows his situation? Yes.
Hi, my name is Anadia. I live in presentation. I have a question regarding the reasons behind poverty. Is intersectionality a reason that is taken very seriously, like understanding that a black person, like an inner-city black family, would have a lot more problems and adversities as opposed to like a white inner-city family? That's just an example.
I did not understand what you said. Oh. Can you speak a little bit slower?
So, people of color would have more disadvantages because of systematic racism.
Right, for structural problem. Yeah, and that is a problem. Would they be... What we have found... Are you sisters? Yeah. You should both wear the same glasses. I know, but the other one be just for show. What we have found is, yes, it is true. Poverty is caused by structural problems, right? But not all the indicators. Some. Are some indicators due to laziness? I know it is very impolitically correct, impolitically to say that, right? But for example, I want to lose weight. I honestly do. Don't laugh at me. But do you understand what I'm trying to say? I want to lose weight. I know that this is not healthy and that I need to lose weight. I have it in my... I suppose my daughter says, you have to walk 10,000 steps in the morning. So, is my overweight due to my lack of motivation? Is your mom like that? Is your mom like that? Yeah. Do you understand? So if you disaggregate poverty, there are some things that are structural. There are other things that have to do with your behavior. There are other things that have to do with your culture. There are other things that have to do with your personal issues, right? You may be a young mother pregnant for the first time and you don't go to do your checkup. What's your problem? I'm embarrassed.
I think it has a lot to do with the taco truck.
Hi, my name is Michael. I was just having a question about, you said, I know you mentioned it's not from government, it's more like government agencies or officials. So has that project impacted any government officials? Does it have any government relations?
So we are working with governments, municipal governments and regional governments and the housing authority here and the prisons there in different countries. So what happens is that your deprivations are related to you have 17 problems, you have 17 government agencies. So it's not the government. So this is what we're doing. And the thing is, he has to know where to go. Because the middle class knows where to go. The middle class knows, right? The middle class knows where all the scholarships are. How come they have all these sorts of antennas? And the poorer you are, the less antennas you have. So today, when I want...
One more if you're...
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Melody, and I was wondering, you said like that you want the people to go to protest, but what if it's hard, like really, really hard for them to go and protest if they're going to miss out on like their working hours, or if they're too far, they're isolated, or they're just not able to go? Is there like somebody else, an agency who can do that in their stead, or
Yes. But the only thing is, if he needs a wheelchair, and he needs a wheelchair, and he's not getting the wheelchair, and he wrote, no answer, called on the phone, no answer, he needs to mobilize. Listen, we're wrapping up here, but I wanted to tell you that if anybody of you are interested in working in poverty, contact me, okay? If you want to do some work in your country, if you want to do it here in California, if you want to do research, if you want to write a paper, contact me. In addition to that, we have a big internship program. So if you want to do an internship, contact me also. And finally, there is something called the Global Scholars Program, okay? Here at UCI. And you can go to Nepal, you can go to Cambodia, and you can go to Paraguay. And South Africa. They're thinking of opening up South Africa. And you can do these internships, okay? You can work in an office, you can work in a school, you can work. So if you are interested, I encourage you to visit another country, because you learn a lot about your own country. And so how many here, raise your hands, would be potentially interested in an internship overseas? Whew. Fantastic. Who would like to go to Latin America?
They're going to say yes to everything.
Africa? Asia? Paris? Exactly. Okay, so contact me either directly or through the professor, because I think that what we need to do, if we want to change the world, if we want to live a life of purpose, we have to go and find out what is Peru like? What is Armenia like? What is Russia? How do people live? You know, and how can I use my skills that I learned at UCI to affect that? Just very quickly, what is your major? Or International studies? Did I like?
Political science.
International studies.
International studies.
Okay, I came to the international studies. Duh. Okay, what I'm trying to say is there are many, many, many things that as a drama major you can do to change the world. And if in international studies, you can work at the World Bank, at the United Nations, you can hit a company. There are so many things to do. And I would like to share with you different experiences, different opportunities. The world is ready for you. So take advantage of it and fall in love and have fun. Thank you. Thank you.